Bishop? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Hey, thank you all. Thank you all for coming. You hear me joking? I said, y'all used to be freedom runners, now y'all freedom riders. So am I. So am I. Yes. But thank you all for coming. And you know we need it now. That's why it was last minute. But I know I talked about it with Bishop Dixon a couple of times about doing this. We've done it 2 or 3 times before. And then I looked at my calendar. I think it was later in the month. I think we threw this together. Come on, Chase, stand up here. These people knew your granddaddy. This is young Chase, John Chase's grandson. This Jay, he works for Congressman Turner. Stand over here to the side. You look like one of them students there, man. When they did this march, you look it up. They told him, come on, he's gonna speak on the debate team. He'll be our third speaker. It'll be me, Dixon, and then you. I think it's Dixon, me, then you, and then we'll go to questions. Okay? And then we're gonna load you on that bus. Know your history. Did you know about this? Did you do it when we did it before? Okay. What year are you? Okay. I don't think we did it last year. I can't remember. This is the 65th anniversary. I know we did it for the 60th anniversary, but we ought to. The students used to do it every year. I know you all are headed to Korea. You going? They're going to the TSU debate team is going to Korea tomorrow. Which Korea? South Korea. Because you go to that other one, you might not be coming back. Yeah. If you go to that other one, you might not get back. You need another one? Okay. See what we do, Bishop. Afterwards. I'll wait for him. You want to let him go first or what? Okay. Yeah. Hey, you know what, Daniel? I never will get up. I better do it first. Sure. Let him do it right when he finishes. How was that bus? Good. Is that the newer one? I think it might. The Lawson one is an old one. I know somebody went to Austin and Aunt Richardson for her daughter's funeral, and they could smell those fumes. Now the John Biggers one is brand new. Y'all look so great out here. Come on now, wait a minute. Come on, show that cane. She been a freedom rider the whole time. You know, show that cane. Don't get angry, think. So when y'all get to the office, we put a mural up with some of the sayings that these speakers had, and they had little handwritten things. They're gonna show the video that Melody Norfolk did some years ago. And tell Bishop don't do it all now so we can get going. It's gonna get hot out here in a minute. Come on, Bishop. Come on, Bishop. I put my TSU hold. Smokey Phillips. You just help one of these seniors come up here with it. Yeah, I want you young ones up here. Just we want you young ones to be seen. Yeah, Bishop, coming up here before that rain gets started. Bishop, come on here. Put him in here. I'm going to call your name out, though, Smokey. I'm going to let him know you're here. Yeah. You just get back here where you're tall and can be seen. Yeah. They'll hold them signs up. Don't you fall now. You know, my doctor tells me every time I go, he tells me don't fall. Where's my other student? Okay, come on up here. Don't be bashful. So I want to thank you all for coming. We're going to get started. I'm Rod Ellis, a county commissioner from Harris County. And with me I have James Dixon, who is the president of the NAACP. That deserves a warm round of applause. And we have Smokey, Constable Smokey Phillips. Give him a warm round of applause. And you're going to hear from a student from Texas Southern University, Handsome Nwole, who is of Igbo origin. Now, I pointed out to him, I know mine. I'm of Yoruba origin. Now, they say we Yorubas, Dixon, are great intellectuals. I don't know. The Igbos would they would question that. But he's on the Texas Southern University debate team. We want to thank them for helping to preserve this story over the years. They leave going to Korea, South Korea tomorrow for a debate competition. So I appreciate the advisors on the debate team working it out so they could be here. And we have a student who's at the Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Just wave. You young people in Micah? Mitron. Wave so they can see Mitron. And we have some seniors. I was joking. I said, now, these used to be freedom runners, and now they're freedom riders. But they're from our various program, Precinct 1 programs. And I want the press to know to make sure you take a picture of them. Even if it takes a second to get there, they're going to go to our office after this on the Freedom Riders bus, which we did to commemorate those students from the North who came to the South to help us replicate what these students at Texas Southern University did. I'm going to speak, then I'm going to turn it over to Bishop Dixon, and he'll bring our student up. I want to thank you for being here. Today we stand on sacred ground where 13 brave Texas Southern University students led a march from this campus to the Wine Gardens lunch counter on Alameda. Through peaceful protests, they helped change the course of history in Houston and around this country. Among the protesters were Deanna Lott, Guy Boydris, John Hutchison, Justice Parvis, Curtis Graves, Holly and Pete Hogerbrooks, Clarence Coleman, Eddie Rigsby, Pat Patterson, and the leader of that group, Eldrew Stearns. He wrote, that was a great book written about his life, and I would strongly encourage you to read it. I want you to note that it was these 13 brave students who led the effort. They didn't just go one day and integrate the lunch counter. It was a protracted effort. Now, along the way, other people came. But I want to encourage you to go back and watch the news clips of the story, to keep from opening the lunch counter to them so that they could eat. They were denied that ability because of the color of their skin. They closed the lunch counter, but they came back every day, and eventually it broke the back of Jim Crow segregation at lunch counters in our great city. We honor their courage. We recognize their sacrifice. We acknowledge the painful reality that their calls for justice were met with resistance, sometimes violent, sometimes slow-moving, but ultimately their resolve prevailed. Their actions helped desegregate this city and pave the way for future generations to press forward in the fight for equality. I want to extend my deep appreciation to the Houston chapter of the NAACP, Bishop Dixon and his predecessors, for helping to ensure that we never forget this moment in history. Give Bishop Dixon another warm round of applause. We do that because remembering is not enough. It is on us to keep pushing for justice, to ensure that every young person in our city knows this story, and they will continue to work to make sure that those issues never come before us again. That's why my office is honored to host this bus ride today that retraces the steps that those 13 students took. The ride will allow our program participants to reflect on their bravery and determination that led Houston to desegregate. Later this year, we'll dedicate the Curtis Graves Detention Basin. We won't call it a detention basin. We'll name it the Curtis Graves Park in the Fifth Ward area to honor one of those brave students who later became the first African American to serve in the Texas House of Representatives since Reconstruction. 2 were elected. The one from Dallas died in a plane crash. So Curtis Graves served as the first African American to go to the State House since Reconstruction. And then later, he was joined by Reverend Zan Holmes, who we know from Dallas, Texas. As part of the Street Art for Mankind Big Art, Bigger Change series, we designed a mural called Unity in downtown Houston. It was inspired by these brave students who were protesting. It adorns the New Hope housing building on Congress Street in downtown Houston. I would encourage you to pass by and look at it, or go on our Precinct 1 website and look at it and be inspired. We're keeping their legacies alive these student protesters were brave, and we want to make sure that their shared history is something that we never forget. Knowing that it's been essential for us to continue to shape civil rights for people going forward. 65 years later, today, that struggle is not over. The fight for justice didn't end with the segregation of a lunch counter in Houston. True equality means ensuring that every space, from classrooms to boardrooms, is open and accessible to all. Because of those 13 students and countless others who marched, sat in, stood up, some died, we're closer to the promise of equality in this country. Their courage is our charge, to keep going forward, to keep fighting, and never settle for anything less than justice, particularly with challenges we face in this country today. And with that, I want to turn it over to Bishop Dixon, and he will then recognize Hanson Nowole, the TSU debate team person who's here. Thank you, Bishop Dixon.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodney Ellis, for bringing us together today. Thank you to Precinct 1, and we are grateful. We are grateful to have a county commissioner, an elected official, who never forgets his history and who never forgets how to honor legacy and to keep us focused on what's significant. And this is another of those occasions. Can we just thank Commissioner Rodney Ellis with a big hand today for his leadership? Leadership is only as valuable as its service and sacrifice. And there are unfortunately not enough leaders like Commissioner Ellis who will come outside of the offices downtown and stand on the street corner to say, we can never forget, and to keep us focused. So we appreciate him. And to all of these seniors who are here today, gathered today to remember, and for these seniors, this was not just a news story. It's their lived story. The fact is, Constable Smokey, the fact is, these are individuals who had a chance to see it then and are still seeing it now. How unfortunate it is, because I can promise you, when Reverend Lawson, our predecessor and mentor, when they were sitting in 1960, when they were walking and marching and sweating, being mistreated, put in jail, they did not think that in 2025 we would still be dealing with attacks on freedom and justice. And so it's important, in fact, it's imperative that the NAACP and all of us continues to keep their story alive. One, we must honor their sacrifice. We cannot allow contemporary generations to be ignorant of the fact that we got here on the sacrifices of others. That it took something, it took bravery, it took courage. They had to decide not to go to class, not to go to work. They had to decide where not to go, where to shop. They had to deal with sacrifices. We honor their sacrifices today, but secondly, we emulate their sacrifices. Commissioner, as we just had our big event on this past Sunday, we're emulating the sacrifices of those who understood that the present generation must sacrifice now so that hopefully future generations will not have to do the same thing. That's our hope and that's our prayer. As we bring our student on today, we simply want to say that in this environment, we recognize that there must be agitation if we're going to influence legislation. And today in 2025, by the courage of those who came before us, we are thusly inspired to do whatever is necessary to say that one day we shall overcome and we shall be completely free. Thank you, Commissioner. At this time, I want to bring Hanson Nowole to come, our brother who's here representing the debate team and the students here at TSU. Give him a hand.
Good afternoon. Before we get started, I just want to say a brief couple of thank yous. Okay.
You didn't plan on that win.
No, I did not. I want to say a brief couple of thank yous. First, on behalf of Dr. Gloria Batiste Roberts, I want to say thank you for everyone gathered here today. We understand the importance of what we are doing here today. We understand the reverence, the imagery that we have all seen and all visioned. We understand the goal that we all want in America. And we understand the goals we all want for our children. And we understand the goals we want for generations to come. Equality, justice, and perseverance. As the member of the Texas Southern University debate team and vice president, I say thank you, not only to the shoulders that I am standing on to talk to you today, but also to the people that have come before me, my ancestors that have died for me to walk, my ancestors that have cried for me to be able to speak today. I say thank you. Thank you to the elders gathered behind me. We understand your sacrifice and your voice means wonders for this community. Thank you to Commissioner Rod Ellis. Sorry if I butchered your name. But we understand the work you are doing here for us, and we understand the importance of what you have sacrificed for us, and we say thank you. Now, before we continue, we must understand brief history of what Texas Southern University students have done. The TSU students have always been born to serve. For 1 month, TSU students paid close attention to the sit-in demonstrations to the south. The TSU student movement was formed by Holly Hugberts, Teddy Hugberts, Eddie Rigby, Jesse Perv, and Eldridge Stearns, and a sit-in demonstration was planned for March 4th, 1960. At Weingarten Grocery Store, ironically, March 4th, 1960 was the TSU's Charter Day, and the student meeting place was the flagpole in front of Hannah Hall. So, on March 4th, the students marched from Texas Southern University to Weingarten Grocery Store on Alameda Street, not too far from the campus. Since the store catered mainly to black clientele, students felt like it would be most vulnerable to the pressure to integrate its lunch counter. They circulated a fleet containing a list of do's and don'ts obtained by Fisk University students. These included: do show yourself friendly on the counter at all times. Do remember that do report all incidents to your leader. Do remember the teachings of Jesus Christ and Martin Luther King Jr. Do feel that you have a constitutional and democratic reason for what you are doing. Don't strike back or curse if attacked. Don't speak to anyone without stating your purpose for being in the movement. Do sit straight and always face the counter. Do refer to all information to your leader in a polite manner. Don't laugh out loud. We can see today that these people were giving a list of leaflet containing a list of do's and don'ts. We see that at that afternoon at 4, 13 well-dressed students assembled at the flagpole in front of Texas Southern University Administration Building. It was a small group, uncertain and still wavering. Stearns choreographed the scenes to inspire the students with the symbolism of freedom. They held hands around the flagpole as the stars and striped banners above waved in the warm March wind, just like we have today. Someone sang the star-streaked banners. Stearns remembered seeing the white face of a fellow law student, Roger Ashe. In a circle of anxious students, he said, I stood there like I am facing a mirror of people, but in that mirror was also a white face. And he said, all you Negroes, whatever you are, you can be just as white as this white boy if you come with me. So they broke out in rage and in pairs, and they walked towards Weingarten's, formerly with 4 students, but joined by the number of 17. This shows the importance of what these students stood for. This shows that these students were able to acknowledge the racism in their face, and instead of facing it with violence, they marched. They marched from Texas Southern University's administration building all the way down to Weingarten's grocery store, showing the importance of our voice, and we will never, ever again be silenced. Now it is time for people like me, and for individuals and students just like me today. I stand here as a reminder to understand who we serve and who we are representing. When we are told to stop talking or to just shut up and dribble in some aspects, We don't shut up and dribble. We talk about what is wrong. We speak out about what is not right. And we also march for what we want. We go to the polls and we vote. We stand for justice. And we are never going to stand anymore for injustice. Thank you.
Great job. Great job. Great job.
I don't know about you all, but I was on the debate team too, Bishop Dixon. I'd hate to be on the other side of you. Won't be long before you be on the Senate floor somewhere. Smokey, you want to say anything briefly? Okay, give Smokey a warm round of applause for being here. So, look, we're going to go to questions. I want to thank my staff. I know it was the last minute. Yeah, I do remember, Bishop, when we did this walk. I don't know if we did it last year. I don't think we did. We did it on the 60th. We did it on the 55th. On the 60th. Yeah, 55th and the 60th. But every year we want to do it. Now more than ever is a need for us to reactivate that same courage that those students had. So thank you all, and we'll take any questions, and then we're going to board that bus, and we're going to go and pray in front of the wine gardens, and we're going to go to our office so they can see the mural. And we got to make sure we do it quickly because the debate team members have to go to class before they pack up and get out of the country. Any questions? You got it? Thank you. Okay, thank you for being here. All right, thank you all. Take your time. I don't want my Freedom Riders to trip going over that.